And welcome in. It's hump day. Welcome in. That's Thursday Eve for all of us in dentistry. Welcome into the Dental Profits webinar series where we come to you live every Wednesday at 4:30 Central. Today, we're going to talk about how to handle I only want what my insurance covers. Stay with us. Welcome back to Dental Profits webinar series, the show that comes to you live just outside Nashville, Tennessee, every Wednesday at 4:30 Central, talking about ways for you to have happier clients, better results, making more money, and enjoying the ride. And that's exactly why we're here, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. So, how to handle I only want what my insurance covers. Why are we talking about this? Because if you've been in dentistry for about this long, then you have heard that. You have heard that either at the front of the conversation that you're having with the patients, perhaps on the phone, whatever, or you've heard it like chairside in the midst of doing the examination or just after the diagnosis. This is prevalent. And the reason I want to talk about it and the reason it's so important that we cover it is not only does it happen so much, I think people are frozen by it. And so what we see most often happen is when you get this kind of, when you get, I only get what my insurance covers phrase, when you get that from your patients, what we see most often is I have no idea what to do with it. So I just don't. I avoid it and keep rolling and deal with it. The other thing that we see a lot of times is, you know what, there's no hope. When the patient says that, then, we are limited to whatever the patient insurance covers. That's it. There's nothing we can do about it. Throw in the towel and get to the next patient, right? Which, by the way, both of those scenarios put a lot of undue challenges, I would say, on the person who is handling the financial arrangement. And so that's why I want to talk about it. How exactly can you handle I only want what my insurance covers? Now, to be able to handle this conversation, if you're thinking that there's one magic bullet sentence that you're going to be able to say that's going to fix it in every scenario, you know what? It may be out there, but I've not found it. In the 20 plus years of working with dentists and dental teams from Vancouver to Barbados, I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying I have not found a one-size-fits-all magic bullet sentence that's going to take care of this. What I have discovered is we need to have a basis. Before we get into how we handle it, we need to have a basis of an understanding for what is actually being said in this moment. And so I'm going to assume, because this is the way we see it most of the time, when a patient says, I only want what my insurance covers, that's going to happen in one of two places. It's either going to happen at the front of the visit before you go in and do the exam, or it's going to happen after the examination or after the diagnosis when the doctor's gone, and then they're telling you as the hygienist or the assistant or the person who's handling the financial arrangement, they're telling you, I only want what my insurance covers. So I think we got to look at it in two different scenarios before we can figure out what to do with it. And that's what I want to talk about in just a second. The other thing I think that's really important, and if you have watched this channel for any reason, we got Casey and Cameron with us. If you have watched this channel for any length of time, then you've heard these conversations at a very deep level when it comes to any sort of treatment acceptance or sales. The bottom line is the bottom line, and we got to come from this foundation before we even begin to figure out how are we going to handle it, whether it's in the front of the conversation or the back of the conversation. How are we going to handle it before we can get to that place? We got to come from the foundation of the bottom line is this. And this is why I would have you write down. And there's Dana joining us. Hey, Dana. Hope you're having a great day. I appreciate you joining in. I would have you write this down, okay? You and I, as consumers, as patients, buy everything not based on price, i.e., not based on insurance. You and I buy everything based on our individual perception of value. Write it down like this. Nobody on earth that you have ever known or ever will know, including yourself, has ever or will ever buy anything based strictly on the cost. Instead, you and I and everybody you know and everybody that you will know, including yourself, buys based on their individual perception of value. But here's the sideways to that. Here's the caveat. If we, you and I, as consumers or patients, don't see any difference in the value, then the only way that we can make the decision is based on price, i.e., based on what does my insurance cover. So first thing first, before we jump into how we're going to handle, I only want what my insurance covers. Before we can handle that, we got to come from this foundational place of an understanding that when the patient says something like that, what they're communicating to you in code is what, Mr. Producer? They don't. Oh, did I catch you in the middle? Sorry. I caught Mr. Producer in the middle of doing his thing, whatever it is that he does. He's way more intelligent than I am. He reminds me of that sometimes. No, he doesn't do that. I didn't mean to catch you off guard in the middle of that. See, I thought you were looking at me. I didn't know you were handling the board back there. Okay. No, I understand. I appreciate that. The basis of it is when a patient says, I only want what the insurance covers, what they're telling you in code is, I don't see value. You got to come from that place before you can ever figure out what to do with it. And when we come back, we're going to talk about specifically what it is that we can do with it or how it is that you can address it, whether it's on the front, whether it's on the back. If you're coming from this place of it's a value conversation, stay with us. Yes, a 98% acceptance rate or better is possible. Yes, you can do it. And yes, it's not as difficult as you think, and I can show you how. I've created a course specifically to cover these topics. It's called the Dental Profits Academy. New patients, existing patients, dormant patients, exactly what to do, what you're trying to accomplish, and how to do it, and what role everybody on your team plays. Intake calls, chairside, financial arrangements, reinstatement calls. It's all there, step by step. It's online, and you can learn it at your leisure. Go to thecrabtreegroup.com and click course for more information. And we're back. We're talking about how in the world do you handle, I only want what my insurance covers. Now, before we broke, I talked to you about the concept of we have to start from the foundational level of, Dana says, I don't see value. That's exactly it. We got to start from that place. Before we can come up with answers on how to handle a situation like this, we have to, is that coming in over the mic?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, so we got a little construction going on. We may have to send somebody up there and tell them to quit that. We're trying to do a video. My gosh, don't you people ever stop? Before we can come from a place of how to handle, I only want what my insurance covers, I've got to operate from this foundation principle, this deep understanding that none of us, you or I, has ever or will ever buy anything based strictly on cost. We all buy based on value. Now, the commercial that you saw there for our course is exactly what you need if you don't understand the concept of value, how to create it on the intake call, which is what we're going to talk about in just a second, how to create chairside, and how you handle the financial, whether it's a new patient, existing patient, dormant patient. That course is absolutely what you need. If you have the course, or if you have an understanding of the foundational principle that you and I buy strictly based on value, also, if we don't see value, then we have to have some way to make the decision. And the only way to make the decision is either price, i.e. insurance, or things like, logical sorts of things. But you and I and everybody we know are emotional creatures. We buy based on emotional value, and that is just a fact. I heard Tony Robbins say one time, the best study of life is not how you think it is, it's how it actually is. And that, my friends, is how it is. If you can come from that place, now we can break this down. When a patient says, I only want what my insurance covers, again, that's going to happen either at the beginning or at the end somewhere in the visit. And it's important to recognize if I have this belief that it's about the value and I'm coming from that place and I have that understanding, then I need to figure out, okay, is it at the front or is it at the back? If it's at the front, if I were you, I would acknowledge, shake your head, whatever, when the patient says at the start of the visit, let's just do a role play. Let's say that we got Casey Davis here. Casey's the patient. Casey comes in, and let's say Casey's a new patient. We're walking him through the new patient paperwork, let's say, and we get all of that out of the way. We've already had a great intake call, let's say. We bring the patient in, we sit him down, and he says right out of the chute, listen, I only want to do what my insurance covers. Okay, if that's the case, then you've heard that code for what it really is. We know that Casey, in this example, does not value dentistry. There is Brandy Kapka. Brandy, it is so good to have you with us. I hope you're having a great day down in Texas. I hope it's as warm as it is here for you. We love the heat. If I hear it on the front end of that, and when Casey says that, I'm hearing what he's actually saying. I know that's code for I don't see value. Now, he's not saying I don't see value for the treatment plan, because we haven't even gotten to that point yet, right? This is at the very start of the visit. What he's communicating is, I don't really see value in dentistry in general. Like overall, I don't see any value in it, right? So if I'm you in that scenario, I think the only way you can handle it is acknowledge it, whether that's a nod or whatever, and then you go right into the PLAS process. Remember, your job is to set the stage with a big old claim at the front end and then ask the questions to find out what's most important to the patient. That's how you can create value in this scenario for the dentistry itself, and then later on, of course, in the visit for the diagnosis. Now, I threw a bunch of words out there, the big claim and the PLAS. All of that is in the course that you saw in the break. But the gist of it is this. We're laying out on the front end. And in this case, Casey's told us, as a patient, I only want to do what the insurance covers. I'm going to acknowledge that and go right in and let Casey know this is who it is. This is who it is that we want to be for you and all of our patients. And the only way that we can serve you at that level is to get some information. And so if Casey's willing to play along, if I do a great job on laying that big claim out on the front end, now I can go through what I call the PLAS process, which is simply asking Casey to open up his heart and tell me the answers to questions like, what is most important to you overall when it comes to your teeth? And I may have to dive in a little bit to get Casey to talk, and especially if on the front end he's saying, I only want to do what the insurance covers. But if I can help Casey understand, I understand that you only want to do what insurance covers, and I want to know what's most important to you overall about your teeth. We'll put the insurance aside for a moment, and we'll put all of that to the side, and we'll come back to that later. Right now, our goal is to serve you at the highest level, and the only way that I can do that is to get some of this information. And Casey will play along at that point, and then I can dive in and ask questions. And when Casey opens up, actually now he's starting to see value in overall dentistry. We haven't even gotten to a diagnosis yet. Now, what do you do if it happens on the back end? In other words, Casey comes in, we've done an intake call, Casey comes in as a new patient, we put the bib on, we sit him down, we go through the process, we walk him through the emotional value. We've done the big claim on the front end. We're doing the PLAS. We're asking the question. He's opening his heart, and then at the very end, somewhere along the way, either after the diagnosis or after, we're bringing the doctor in, let's say, and he's about to do the exam. And right out of the chute, before the doctor does the exam, let's say Casey throws it out there. I only want to do what the insurance covers. If it happens at the back end, then what that is code for, again, is what? I don't see value. I don't see value. Looks like we got Eric Wendell, the man himself, in the house. Thanks for joining us, Eric. Hope you're having a great day. Hope Kansas City is as warm as it is here in Tennessee. Brandy says it's warm in Texas. So if it happens at the back end, and I've already walked through that whole process, then I'm really second guessing this thing. Either I've pushed him to give me answers that weren't sincere, or he wasn't comfortable to open his heart to me. Bottom line, whatever has happened, and I've not gotten Casey to tell me what's really important to him regarding his teeth. Whether that's, having the confidence to be able to chew whatever he wants to be able to chew or eat in social settings. Whether that's, the way they look and having, not being embarrassed about the way they look, or in business settings, whatever that is. If I feel like I got him to tell me those things, and then at the bitter end, he's going, I only want to do what the insurance covers, that is a great indication that I was not successful somewhere along the way. So at this moment, I'm not going to worry about trying to identify where I lost it. I'm just really recognizing in the moment that I'm not finding out what's most important to Casey. And if I can't find out what's most important to Casey, there's no way on earth I'm going to have him see value in this clinical diagnosis that's about to happen, because he's going to base it on the only thing he can make the decision on, which is cost. And remember what we said earlier. We're talking about what do you do and how do you handle when a patient says, I only want what the insurance covers. And we're talking about whether that happens in the front, whether that happens in the back, and how it is that you handle it. Remember, we've already established the fact that you or I and everybody we know and everybody we will know will never buy anything based on cost. We all buy, as consumers and patients in every scenario, we buy based on our individual perception of emotional value. If we don't see that value, then the only way we can make the judgment is based on cost. So when Casey communicates that is code for, I did not accomplish what I was trying to accomplish. He didn't open his heart. So what do I do about it? Here's what I do. I go right back into asking the questions again. A great way to start that is, so a moment ago, I asked you what was most important to you. What you said was this, or what I thought I heard you say was this. Is there anything else that's most important to you? You dive back in and you ask those questions. The point of this conversation is, at the end of the day, there's not a silver bullet that you're going to be able to throw out there in a spray and pray kind of a way that's going to handle every situation. It much more requires you and I to have the presence of mind, to be in the moment and be focused and recognize, where is this happening in the front? Is it happening in the back? And how do I need to handle it? When I come from the foundational understanding that none of us buy anything based on price, we all buy based on value, then when I come from that place, now I can know how to handle it, whether that's in the front or in the back. And that is the way that you do it. Brandy, I'm looking for a thumbs up or an amen. And who else here? Eric and all of you guys that are on here. Dana, give me a thumbs up if this makes sense. Dana says, yep, it's all about the value. At the end of the day, the basis for this is, if you don't have an understanding about why you and I and your patients buy anything, if you don't understand that it's about the value, then you're not putting yourself in a position to be able to overcome it. I mean, the guys are up there just banging around like crazy, knocking stuff on the floor. So you guys that don't know, we're renovating the upstairs because we're about to move. We're about to move our offices upstairs, and so these guys are feverishly working because they're way behind, and they're trying to meet a deadline, but they have no respect for the video. Brandy Cap says, one of the things you could ask yourself is, does what he told me really fit into the sentence? And that's a great way to judge whether or not I'm getting the emotional value. Brandy knows this. She does it all the time. A great way to figure out whether or not I'm truly getting the emotional value is, does it fit in this sentence? The most important thing to this patient is blank feeling. Or the reverse, the most important thing to this patient about their teeth is not feeling blank. If it fits in those sentences and I'm still getting, I only want to buy what's based on my insurance, then I know maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I intimated what I thought he said, and I kind of pushed him into it. Maybe I led the witness, so to speak, a little bit. Maybe he didn't, maybe I just misunderstood it. But in the moment, what I got to do is backtrack and go back into asking those questions. Because again, I understand there's no way that I'm going to be able to create value for the treatment plan that this patient needs unless or until I know what's most important to him. Now, once I know what's most important to him, and if it's sincerely most important to him, then I can show him how this is the thing he wants. This is where he currently is, and he's not getting it. And the bridge to those two is the clinical treatment that he needs. And that's the way you handle, I only want what my insurance covers. And that, my friends, thank you for the thumbs up. That is what it is all about. I appreciate you joining me today. This is the show that comes to you live every Wednesday. It's all about you having happier clients, better results, making more money, and enjoying the ride. Hopefully you can see, if you come from this place where you understand it's about value, now you're able to handle when the patient says, I only want what my insurance covers, whether it's a front or a back thing, you now have the ability to be able to handle that. And at the end of the day, that's going to get you happier clients, better results, make more money, and enjoying the ride. And that's what I want for you. Couple things. If you've not joined our closed Facebook group, I want to extend a personal invitation. Yes, you have to apply. There's only 2 questions. And I can't remember what they are, but it's not a big deal. Jump out there and find us on Facebook at Dental Profits. What is it, Mr. Producer?
It's just Dental Profits.
Dental Profits. So go out to Facebook and find Dental Profits. It's a closed group, but I'm inviting you. So go in, fill out the questionnaire, and we'd love to have you be a part of that. This show and our dedication to you is all about everything I've said: happier clients, better results, making more money, and enjoying the ride. If there's anything that you need from us, specific questions that I can answer, I'd be happy to do that. If you want to direct message me through Facebook, or if you want to put some comments here, I'd be glad to do that. And I'll do it on a video like this. The number 3 thing real quick before I let you go is this. We are going to start a live coaching session. Mr. Producer, when are we going to start that? Very shortly is the answer. We're going to start it. Thank you for the answer. We're going to start a live coaching session very shortly. If you would like, we're going to do that in our closed group. We're not going to do that for the entire, internet world. But we're going to do live coaching, and we're going to do that on Thursdays. If you're interested in getting very specific answers to your very specific situation in your very specific dental practice in your specific area with your specific patients, whether that's value creation, how to handle intake calls, handoffs, how to handle financial arrangements, whether that is reinstatement of patients, what's a systematic approach, what's verbiage on intake calls, verbiage on confirmations, whatever the conversation is, I would love to be able to support you, and I'd love to be able to do that at no charge, and we'll do it in this format. If you're interested in that, please email me. Is that the best way to do this, Mr. Producer, or should they email you directly, or what should they do?
Yeah, you should probably email Dental Profits at Crabtree Group.
So email Dental Profits at thecrabtreegroup.com. And if you go to thecrabtreegroup.com, you can find all of the things that we're talking about here. Thanks for joining me. All of you guys, Brandy, Dana, Eric, and everybody else, thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your hump day, a good Thursday Eve. See you right back here next week. Until then, so long.